All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a $100 billion corporate showdown for one of the most legendary studios in Hollywood. And believe me, this isn't just some business deal. It's a massive fight that could change everything we watch. So, here's how it all kicked off. You had one of the biggest media deals in years, all set to go. Warner Bros. Discovery and Netflix thought they had it in the bag. But then, another huge player decided to crash the party, and they did it in the most aggressive way you can imagine.
And with that one sentence, Paramount's CEO, David Ellison, basically declared war. See, this isn't some friendly negotiation. This is what's called a hostile takeover bid. It's a direct shot aimed right at the real owners of Warner Bros. Discovery trying to force their hand.
What Paramount is doing here is completely sidestepping the Warner Bros. Board. They're pretty much saying, hey, we don't think you got the best deal for your owners, and they're taking their pitch straight to the thousands of people and funds who actually own the company, the shareholders. Okay, so how do these two completely different visions for Hollywood's future really stack up against one another? This is where things get super interesting, because we're looking at two fundamentally different game plans for winning the streaming wars. So on one side, you've got Netflix making this really targeted, surgical strike. They want the crown jewels, right? The movie studio, HBO, Max, all that amazing IP. They're trying to avoid all the old-school cable networks. But then you have Paramount making this huge, bold play to just buy the entire kingdom. They're betting that sheer size is the way to win. And when you dig into the details, you see this massive difference, not just in the price, but in how simple or complicated each deal is. Paramount's offer is clean. It's $30 a share, all cash for the whole shebang, and they already have the financing lined up. The Netflix deal, it's a mix of cash and stock, and the whole thing depends on this complex plan to spin off Warner's cable networks into a totally new company. Now, if you're a shareholder, this is the number that really jumps out at you. It's the price per share, and Paramount is offering a clear, easy-to-understand premium of $2.25 for every single share you own. And that little premium, well, it adds up fast. In total, Paramount's bid puts an extra $18 billion of pure cash into the pockets of Warner Bros. Shareholders. That is a number so big that no board of directors on Earth can just ignore it. And this right here shows you a huge risk in the Netflix deal. See, shareholders wouldn't just get cash in Netflix stock. They'd also be stuck holding shares in this new company. A company that would be loaded up with debt and facing a really uncertain future in the world of traditional cable TV. Paramount's offer just makes that whole problem disappear. Okay, so this all brings up a really important question. How can Paramount even make this offer if a deal with Netflix is already signed, sealed, and delivered? It sounds impossible, right? Well, the answer is kind of hidden away in the fine print of corporate law. And yeah, you're right to ask that. They absolutely did have a deal. But a signed contract isn't always the final word, thanks to this really important legal concept that was basically designed for this exact kind of high-stakes situation. It's called a fiduciary out. You can think of it like a legal escape hatch. It makes sure that a company's board always has a duty to do what's best financially for its shareholders. It stops them from being locked into one deal if a much, much better one suddenly appears, which is exactly what Paramount is arguing their offer is. So right now, the clock is ticking for the Warner Bros. Board. They are now legally required to sit down and seriously review Paramount's offer. And they only have 10 business days to publicly announce whether they think it's a superior proposal and tell their shareholders exactly what they should do. The pressure's on. But here's the thing. This decision isn't just about who's offering the most cash. It's a huge gamble on risk, especially the risk of getting shut down by government regulators. And, well, the original deal had some serious red flags. These breakup fees, they tell a whole story by themselves. Look at this. If Warner Bros. Walks away and takes Paramount's better offer, they have to pay Netflix $2.8 billion. But check out the other number. Netflix would have to pay Warner Bros. A staggering $5.8 billion if regulators block their deal. A fee that high tells you that both sides knew they were facing some major antitrust problems. And here it is. Here's the number that has regulators so worried. 432. That's the deal's score on a scale they use to see how much a merger will reduce competition. To give you some context, under the guidelines, any score over 100 is already a problem. At 432, the Netflix deal is way into the danger zone, basically inviting a challenge from the government. And then, of course, there's the whole political angle to this. Reports suggest that the Paramount bid is backed by people with serious political connections, including Jared Kushner's firm. At the same time, the Netflix deal had already gotten some negative attention from political figures, which just adds another layer of risk and uncertainty to the whole thing. So, you've got money, you've got risk, you've got politics all swirling around. What happens next in this incredible battle for the future of entertainment? Well, it all comes down to a choice for the shareholders.
And really, it boils down to this. Do you take the Paramount deal? It's a guaranteed, simple, all-cash payday with a much clearer path to getting approved. Or do you stick with the Netflix vision? It's strategic, sure, but it's a mix of cash and stock, and it comes with a ton of regulatory risk and a really complicated structure.
And this is where it gets really spicy. Paramount's hostile bid might not even be the final offer. This whole move could just be a tactic to force Netflix's hand, to pressure them into coming back with a higher, better, simpler offer. We could be at the very start of an all-out bidding war. So this is way more than just a business deal. It is a genuine battle for a legendary studio, and it's going to decide who controls the stories we all watch for decades to come. The result is going to reshape the entire media world, and right now, it is truly anybody's game.